Let me tell you a story that will provide you with 7 valuable lessons. There was a father in mature age who had 2 adult sons, and he loved them both incredibly. He was an honorable man and was respected by his dear woman, as well as the admiration of his community. He was a great man of business, but with humility and fair practices, he had gained financial abundance. Being a prudent man, he created a fund for the 2 sons and their effects, so that when he died, whether of natural causes or in an unfortunate early death, the 2 segregated funds will be assorted accordingly. I think that's something to consider if you have dependents, such as those who count on you for sustaining a comfortable life in your unforeseen absence. It's more about making sure that the financial security is well established. Who wouldn't want to have a pile of reserves readily available? This is why 401k and life insurance policies were invented, in order to give the general employee an opportunity to live well in retirement years. Nowadays, it's quite limiting to fully retire from anything, since odds are 95 to 1 that we are projected to work until we're 77 to 80 years old. Albeit the youngest son approached his father and he said to him, "Father, give me the money that is my portion that you have already set aside. I want it now." The father had equity that accumulated substantially on his real estate, but without delay he divided the money of his 2 sons and then gave the requested money to the one asking. No sooner than the rising of the sun on the next day, the son gathered all of his belongings, packed up his finest clothing, and left town. You can imagine how excited and eager he was. He traveled the world and afforded himself many luxuries in towns and cities he visited. He was submerged in the illusion of power, control, and dictatorship due to the immense amount of money he had at his disposal. Throughout the course of his journeys, he tallied up resources on merchandise, prostitutes, fancy hotel stays with various women, gambling events, and wild eating. After going to sleep from partying and drinking, he woke up and he thought to himself, "Let me stay for one more day." But since he didn't keep track or was intelligent with his spending, he realized that all his money was depleted. He began to panic and experience denial. He reasoned that perhaps he was robbed, or maybe he placed the remaining cash in an account for later. Well, he didn't. This immaturity and lack of self-control led him to dire need. All of those people he partied with and supported him in his erroneous habits were nowhere to be found. They were his friends as long as he was able to afford their lavish desires. There is a lesson to note. Be aware of those who are only around you because of the amount of income you earn or the wealth you have managed to accumulate. A noble king in 1800 BCE said, "Wise people live in wealth and luxury, but stupid people spend their money as fast as they get it." This man had no choice but to panhandle for survival. After a while, he noticed a nearby farmer and offered himself for free services. So the farmer told the man to go tend to his pigs in the field. He went and did as he was instructed in the hopes that he would be fed. He hadn't eaten in days, and he was in starvation mode to the point of consuming the food in the pigs' pods. This was his intent, but no one would give him anything. Then the idea came to him, and he reasoned for a moment, then said, "What am I doing? My father's servants have food to eat, but yet here I am starving. I will go back to my father's house and tell him, 'Father, I have done wrong to you, and I am not worthy of being called your son. Treat me like one of your servants.'" He got up from the farmer's field and proceeded to journey back to his father's estate. After managing the daunting task of traveling back, he came within 4 miles of his father's house. His father was outside and noticed a man walking from the distance. He looked twice before he realized it was his son. It has been months since he has last seen his son, but with compassion and joy, the father ran to the son to embrace and kiss him. Right after that, he told the servants to bring him some fine clothing and shoes for him to exchange out of the raggedy wardrobe he was wearing. The father told the servants to make the finest meal because that evening they were going to celebrate, and they did what he said, and so it was. A celebration had commenced. If you're still paying attention, you remember that there were 2 sons. The oldest son was in the field when all of this was happening, and when he was walking back to the house, he heard music and cheerfulness. He asked one of the servants at one of the entrances, "What's going on here?" The servant replied, "Your brother is back, and your father is celebrating his return. He also told us to cook the best meal for this occasion." Once the oldest son was aware of everything, he became greatly angered and refused to join the festivities. The father came out to the entrance after the servant relayed the reaction, and he pleaded with his firstborn for a while until he intervened and said, "Father, look, every year I have dedicated myself to your counsel and tutelage. I have served you well and never was disgruntled or disobedient of your rules. Yet, you've never given me the finest meal so that I may celebrate with my own friends. This son of yours comes back from misspending his share of the wealth with prostitutes, and you decide to make a great feast for him." The father let the son get his frustrations out, rightfully so, and when he was finished, the patient father said, "Son, you have never left my side, and I am grateful. Everything that I possess is yours. This brother of yours, I celebrated with food and gladness because he was once dead, but he is still alive. He was once lost, and now he is found." Let me tell you the lessons about money in this. 1. Don't be so quick to spend your money on frivolous things in order to appease someone. 85% odds that the person truly doesn't care. 2. The amount of money you have will increase the gravitation of pretenders and backstabbers towards you, so don't flaunt your worth. 3. Money brings out the true essence of an individual. Give a hedonistic person plenty, he will increase in his greedy passions. Treasure in the hands of an altruistic person will help another person reach the treasure of their own. 4. Losing a lot of your wealth, whether caused by you or not, is horrible. But unlike your life, money can be recouped, and as for your life, it cannot. 5. Jealousy will emerge when you are celebrated by those who genuinely care about you, but don't be bothered by that because it has nothing to do with you. 6. No one cares about your background or where you come from, so don't expect handouts. And 7. Humility is a great asset, and it helps you with having a healthy relationship with people and money. Money can and will solve many issues. It depends on what type of issues you consider investing, because a poor man can be rich, and a rich man can be poor.